What was it last week?
You are not.
You're welcome, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. How's everyone today? Are you glad to be alive?
Yes.
Only one person.
I'm glad to be alive.
We're alive. It's sunny. The sun is shining. My name is Kareem. I'm the Sergeant at Arms. I get to bang the gavel and start the meeting. I really missed this, guys. You get used to it, you know. My name is Kareem, and I will be the chair as well. So please help me welcome the chair, Kareem Haddad. I chose the theme, Facing Our Fears. As per our last meeting, we were talking a lot about that. Keep that in mind. Here we get to face our fears. We get to face the fear. What is the number one fear today? Public speaking. Isn't that something? Why is it such a great fear? Why is it the number one fear in our world today? Well, it's because we have to step out of our comfort zone, and right? People looking at us and looking, we might make mistakes, might fail.
You're in the spotlight.
Oh dear. That fear of failure. Let's go over our roles for today. Oh, but before we go over our roles, I'd like to welcome, we have a guest. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us?
My name is Abhishek.
Abhishek?
Abhishek.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Let's begin with our inspirator today, Sally Ann.
Yay!
Welcome, Chairman, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I am the inspirator. When I got home last Saturday night after being in Victoria for 9 days with my sister Barbara, whose husband Kevin suddenly died, I was very sad, and I looked online and I was the inspirator. Oh. But being in Toastmasters is a challenge for me, and so this is what it is. And I accidentally pressed the button and said I would do it, so here I am. I am the inspirator. But I want to inspire you not to put things off to tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. In my house, we use that fancy soaps you've been saving, and I burn all my fancy candles. We use china almost every week. When we barbecue, we use our china. When we run out of dishes, we use our china. And so far, I haven't let the cats use the china, but maybe one day. And I'm planning when my dishes run out, the china is going to be full time. Why wait? Use your fancy soaps, burn those candles, use your china. Because you're worth it. You're worth using it for. You don't save it for someone else. Do the things you want to do. I love to dance, and I dance in the malls, and I dance in the grocery stores when I hear my favorite music. I even dance when I don't even hear music. My family's so used to it that they don't even care anymore. Everyone calls me the dancing lady at work all the time. And sing. Sing in your car when you feel like you hear your favorite song. Who cares if you can't sing? Just sing. One day I was driving along in the big summer day, and the windows were down, and I was singing my heart out. I cannot sing very well. And this lady goes, "Right on, lady." Okay, it embarrassed me a little bit, but who cares? And I dress funny. I love to wear socks with running shoes with good clothes, because this is the way I dress. And I think people stare at me all the time. I see it. But you know what? I'm hoping they're staring at me saying, "I wish I had the guts like that lady. They're dressed like that." And if they think I'm crazy, I also don't care. This is the way I am. So I want you to, stop waiting. Stop waiting until you lose a few pounds. Stop waiting until you get more money. Stop waiting till the children grow up. Stop waiting. Until what? Do it now. Inspire yourself to live your life the way you want to live it. And that's all. Thank you.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Don't put it off. Do it now. That's John Maxwell. He said when he was first getting started in his career, he read somewhere to put "do it now" on everywhere in his house, and just inspired him to do it now, right? We put it off. I do. Well, let's go on. Thanks, Sally Ann. We appreciate that. Good job. Next we have our, let's go over our roles. First we have our grammarian, who is going to be Mandeep. Manny, could you please, from your seat, explain your role as grammarian?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest. Thank you, sir, for this handout you sent over. So I'm just going to read out. My role is, as the grammarian, to listen carefully to each person who speaks this afternoon. I will be looking out for any colourful words, any filler words, and that may distract from a speaker's presentation. My goal is to, I just said that, okay, I'll skip all that then. Okay, besides that, I have the word of the day, which I've chosen as amity, and the meaning is a peaceful relationship as between nations, friendship, harmony. And for those who read the news, and we all know there's a lot of conflict at the moment in the Middle East, which is why I came up with that word. And the example I've got there is he wished to live in amity with his neighbours, countries, fellow men. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Manny. Thanks, Manny. Appreciate that. Well done. Next, we have our timer. Nabet, from your seat, could you please explain your role?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, dear Toastmasters, guests, and the timer times things. And each of you basically have a limit in terms of how much you can speak. And I have 3 cue cards for you here. This is for basically just the first warning. So for the main speakers, it would be 5 minutes. When they reach 6 minutes, it would be this. And when time's up, basically you get the orange or the red card. For table topics, each of you have a maximum of 3 minutes. So for the
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Sorry, 2 minutes for table topics? Only 2 minutes. So green for first minute, yellow for 1.5, and red for 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabet. Next, well, actually, my mistake here with the counter. Do we have an counter, or anyone who would like to be an counter today?
So I can do it along with my role. When we listen.
There we go.
Okay.
Double duty for
Yeah.
Manny can do it, right?
Thanks, Manny. Appreciate you stepping up.
Extra Toastmaster points.
Listening skills, great. Next, we'd like to get into our speakers for today. Our first speaker is on her second speech in the first manual, in her competent communication manual, Organize Your Speech. Please help me welcome Nima. It's habit, guys. I think she's going to talk about habit today, right?
Good afternoon. My habit. Respected Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. A morning coffee is a favorite way to start my day. That's one of the many habits that I have. Today, I'm talking about a habit that I developed during my childhood days, and I remember since ever I can. In my place, when a baby tries to put his feet in his mouth, elder people would say, another one is coming soon. I too had a sister, but my habit continued. However, I love to bite my fingernails and toenails. I know it's repulsive for some people, but that's what I love to do. I found enjoyment in biting my nails. Rain or shine, I used to bite them because they're my babies. When I was young, my family used to scold me. I would think, what is the matter with them? It's my nails that I'm biting, not theirs. When I was 7 years old, I had to go for an emergency appendix operation. After the surgery, doctor came up and told me, I've never seen any patient who has 90% of nails in their appendix. Now you guys can imagine what I did with the nails. I used to swallow them. My mom did many things to stop me from doing the so-called bad habit, But for me, it was a hobby. At that time, I didn't know what was the difference between a hobby and a habit. She used to put bitter stuff on my nails so I can stop biting the nails. But do you think I stopped it? No way. I again did with more intensity, and honestly, I achieved it. Later on, she tried another trick on me. She thought every time when I bite my nails, my family would call me a name. Can you guess? They would call me monkey. That didn't work too. So again, they found out some other trick to just keep me away from my habit. They thought they'll put the bandages on my fingernails so I can't bite. But I still figured out some way to bite my nails. There was one thing that I hated the most. I used to find a quiet place in my home. I don't disturb anyone. I just sit there and do my hobby. I just bite my nails. That's when someone come behind me and used to beat me on my fingers. You know, that enjoyment when it is great, that anger, it was in me. The same anger or the same frustration or the same emotions that everyone has when you are enjoying your ice cream in the cone and the last scoop just fall off from it. Everyone was concerned about my habit, especially my family, because they were more concerned about it because they were not sure if it's going to affect my marriage proposals. There was a point in my life when I realized that nail biting is a bad habit. It's not a hobby. A person asked me, "Can you please do it for me?" I don't know what made the change in me. I started to stop biting my nails. I never listened to my parents who raised me for 24 years, but I just listened to someone I just met. I still don't know the reason why I listened to him. But maybe is it because of the excitement that I'm going to get married? Is it out of love? Is it the respect for him? Or is it the shame for myself? I still don't know what is the reason that I don't want to bite my nails. 9 years ago, I decided I'm not going to bite my nails anymore. From my life, I strongly believe bad habits cannot be changed by threatening or punishment. Then how? I still don't know the answer, but I got some lessons from my life. I will use it for my kids and teach them there are some ways you can get rid of your bad habits. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Nima. Well done on your second speech. That was excellent. Our next speaker is working on her 8th speech in the same manual, the first manual, Competent Communication Manual, which is Get Comfortable with Visual Aids. Select visual aids that are appropriate for the message and the audience. And please help me welcome April Mellot with her speech, What is Man?
It's not what's money.
She missed the aisle.
No, it's not one is man.
Ooh. The Isle of Man.
Right. Everybody see that okay?
Nice.
That's not the
You said
presentation.
the Isle
Should
of
we
Man?
turn off one?
Yeah.
There's a place in the UK, the Isle of Man.
It should be the opposite, if you can turn that one off.
Oh, sorry.
Just leave it all off.
Yeah, that's tough.
Both of them?
We'll try it.
That's good.
You okay with that? Then maybe you
Leave it on?
first says leave it on.
Woohoo.
Alright.
What is man? Mr. Chair, fellow Toastmasters are the most distinguished guests. What is man? Can I get a show of hands who agrees with this statement? Man is a friend, but he can also be the enemy.
Hmm.
Man can heal all wounds, but he can also be the cause of it. Man can save the world, but he can also destroy it. Fellow Toastmasters, what makes the same hand so powerful, yet so destructive at the same time? This is the influence that we have as human beings. We are distinct from all of the other species out there. There's a Bible phrase that says, we as human beings will rule over all of the creatures of the land and all of the creatures of the sea. Whether you agree with the statement or not, it does show that we rule over all things. We are different, we are distinct, we are unique. And for the purposes of this speech, when I say man, I'll refer both to men and women, child and adults, all alike. There's three main things that make man different, and that make man want to save the world and destroy it at the same time. These three main points are, man is beast, man is thought, and man is God. The very first point I want to bring up is man is beast. You all know who that is?
Yep.
It's Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So Beast is actually human, right? So in a similar sense, we are beasts. It doesn't matter what we do, what our dreams and what our goals are, we are beasts. What do I mean by that? At a very primal level, we have to fulfill our basic instincts. And one of these basic instincts are sustenance. We have to nourish ourselves. We have to eat, right? What happens if we don't eat? We starve and we die. So none of our dreams matter, none of our jobs matter, and even Toastmasters wouldn't matter if we don't eat. This one, reproduction. It's in our nature to multiply and propagate this world with little Kareems, little Suas, little Aprils, and little Nabets, and little Mannies, and little Liz. That's why attraction happens. It's part of the human nature. Attraction happens in one form or another. Next is defense. We have to protect ourselves from all of the calamities, challenges, and obstacles. That's why there's a fight or the flight. It's either we fight against our obstacles or we take the flight. Community. Man is community. Without love, without hope, without friends, without community, man is nothing. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do, right? We have to fulfill all of this stuff. We have to fulfill our basic instincts. But then the same hands that can be used for sustenance, we can use for gluttony, we can use for overeating and overdrinking. And the same hands that can be used for defense can be used for revenge. This is what man is. We have the power to save and to destroy all at the same time. The next point is man is thought. We are probably one of the only creatures here on this planet that is capable of intelligent and complex thoughts. That's why we can make jokes and have humors. What's even more mind-boggling is that these same thoughts we can dream about and we can even articulate. But this is where the hard part is. This is where both the good and the bad thoughts come. On one side of the spectrum, maybe we can have love, we can have kindness, we can have forgiveness. But on the other side of the spectrum, we can have anger, frustration, lust, and anxiety. All of these same thoughts are from one mind alone, from man. And whatever you listen to, whether you choose to save or to destroy, that is up to you. That is what man is. We are creatures of thought. The next one is man is God. Now, I'm not trying to be blasphemous here, nor am I trying to offend anyone. In fact, I'm a devout Catholic myself. But I'll explain what this means. There's a quote from the Bible that says, "Man is made in the image and likeness of God." What does that mean exactly? It means that human beings have divine characteristics. So there's three main things. We like to conquer things. It's a proven fact in history that our ancestors were conquerors, were they not?
Mhm.
So if they did not conquer all of the tribes and the villages before, the countries that we know now would not have existed. Don't you think so? But then what starts off as a pure intention of conquering, maybe to save the village or to prove to the world that the world is not flat and we're not going to fall off the face of the earth, it can turn into greed rather quickly. Once again, this is the power that we have. Either we save something or we destroy it. The next thing is we like to create things. We have, for the good of humanity, created medicine. Isn't that great? We can live longer, we can be better, we can become better people. But these same angelic hands has created nuclear bombs, lethal weapons, and things that can destroy and end life. That is what man is. Man is God. We can create or destroy. The next one is we like to control things. To a certain extent, that's okay because we need chaos to be organized, right? But take it a step further and you choke people up to death. But to end, these are just the three main points that I think that explains our conflicting character. Man is beast. Man is a creature of thought, and man is also divine and godly. But still, we are a struggle. We are a constant struggle between these three. Who are we going to listen to? And what defines you as a person? It depends who you listen to. Do you listen to the angel or the beast within you? Or do you listen to the good or the bad thoughts within you? But mostly, do you listen to the greatness or the darkness within you? That is up to you. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, April. Well done. On your 8th speech, using amazing visual aids. Great job. Now, we'd like to go ahead and evaluate those speakers. First, to evaluate Nima's speech, we have Karen. Karen, are you ready?
Yes.
Come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought I was going to say it from the table over there, so I wasn't prepared to stand up. Sometimes being thrown into things is the best. So as Nima did with her speech on my habit. When I was listening to her, I thought that the interest of her speech on her habit was very good. First coming into a good habit, as she explained with coffee, and then going into the bad habit, which I felt she did feel bad about, so I really got very close to her as she was telling us this. Her preparation, I saw that she had it quite printed out and had really thought about what she was going to say to all of us. And with the organization, she started off as a baby and then on to childhood, right into adulthood. I thought it flowed very nicely. Confessing her bad habit of biting nails in the beginning was a very strong point. It really hit right onto it. This is my bad habit. The body really flowed very smoothly, and her conclusion, how one person asked her to stop and how that led her into her conclusion and the transition of how that will help her teach her children in her future. What she could have done a little bit differently to make it more effective, I thought, was to throw a little bit more humor into it. I found myself quite tense listening to it, really feeling for her as she explained this bad habit. But her presentation being very personal on an embarrassing habit to her, not to everybody, but I wanted to thank her for that and a very warm, friendly approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, for that excellent evaluation and that sandwich approach where we get to work on something for the next time. This is what we do at ToastMasters. We add value this way by good evaluations. Next, we have to evaluate April's speech, Amit. Come on down, Amit. The price is right.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, fellow fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests. So once again, April did a fantastic job overall. Obviously, the April speech was very well rehearsed. She had researched it really well. And what I like about just the presence she has on the stage, she first of all moved the lectern out of the way. So that just shows that she's really confident to be up here and talk to all of us. And her hand gestures were very good. You know, she's always doing this and using this to make certain points. Her tone of voice also, I noticed it went from high to low quite often to keep us engaged. So when she's emphasizing certain things, it went high, and even the low points also helped emphasize many points. The topic that she had, what is man? It was a very serious topic, so there wasn't a lot of humor in that speech. It wasn't really meant to be. So there were a lot of religious undertones there as well. And but there's the whole concept of, you know, man really has control over his own destiny, the underlying kind of theme that was really powerful. One of the things that she could have done, I just noticed, I mean, her use of the visual aids was very good, the PowerPoint, but she had to kind of keep going back to kind of flip and then kind of come back. It was just because she was going really, it was really engaging, so I just kind of found it a little distracting and she had to go back and forth. Maybe if the PowerPoint computer was kind of more beside her, or if you had a little remote, one of those remote thingies that just, not a big thing, but just in the future something to do. So, but overall, really good, really enjoyed the information, and I look forward to more. Thank you, April. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit, for that excellent evaluation. Another excellent evaluation with the sandwich approach. Something to take back and work on for our next speech. We can all learn from that. Thank you, Amit. Now, I'd like to invite our table topics master for the second half of our meeting, for the little more fun and upbeat part, Simone Maxwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honored fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests. Hi, I'm Simone, and I'm doing the Table Topics Masters section of the meeting today. So, table topics, what is the role? Table topics are impromptu speeches. Basically, they're very short, and the purpose of the impromptu speeches is to get us practice thinking on our feet. So we don't prepare, we don't go home and research, none of that. We just put on the spot. It's like, wow, be in the moment, think about, we're given a question, a very clear question. It's pretty straightforward, but it gets us to think. We take a moment, reflect on the question, sort of scan our brain for an answer, and then we go, okay, I'm ready to answer the question, and then we speak about it. Okay, and mostly the speaking is really interesting. I love table topics, by the way. We come from the heart. When we don't have time, myself, I can get into student mode, I can go home and do all the research, and next thing you know, I'm overthinking. I'm not as spontaneous. I'm more in that sort of analytical mind. Okay, so let's go with table topics. Here we go. Table topics today are about, think about life. Think about your own life around you. Sometimes life is hard. How have we coped? Think of an example from your life. How have you coped with adversity? Think of an example from your life where you've had challenges, a situation, a tough set of issues around you. Maybe it's a job loss. Maybe it's a relationship that unexpectedly ended. You're hurting, you're feeling it, you're in a bad space. Can you think about a situation but you overcame, you got through it. You rallied, you were able to pull up and pull out and move on. What we want to know from Table Topics' point of view is, how'd you do it? What kind of things did you have to do to get out of that place? Did you have to take a time out? Did you have to ask for help? Did you have to learn a new skill? Did you have to be a creative problem solver? What kinds of things did you do to overcome adversity? If there's an example, everybody think of an example, I encourage you right now. And I'm going to ask if our guests, we've got 2 guests today, I'm wondering if anybody would be comfortable to talk to about this question, either of our guests. Only 2 minutes. Can I call on Abhishek to answer the question? So how did you overcome a challenge in your life? How did you do it? Would you like to come?
Okay, think about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Simone, could you ask one of our members first instead of asking the guests?
Pardon me. Okay. All right. So would any of the members who don't have a role today care to speak to this question, such as Liz? Okay, so how did you overcome adversity in your life? One example.
Thank you, Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Yes, I'll go first to show you, hopefully, how it's done. What adversity have I gone through in life, and how did I get around it? How many adversities? How much time do I have? I would say one of the biggest ones that has affected me through my whole life is self-doubt. And I know that started when I was young. I was the youngest as the baby, so everyone was older by at least 5 years, and so I was always like either running after them or catching up emotionally or whatever the situation was. I was always catching up, and I didn't know anything, of course, because I was the baby. So this plagued me, of course, through my whole life, not knowing who I am or that I'm okay as I am. And I finally it took me a long time to get to a place where I guess how I did it was really just sit down and go, okay, wait a minute. What's actually happening here? Rather than just living from that self-doubt. What's going on? Okay, I feel like, I don't know if I've said this before, but I felt like I was in this glass box, and I knew there was more to life outside of it. I could see it. I could see other people living from this place of, yeah, I could do this, go do whatever you want. I don't know why I walk like this, but that's what it looked like. Confidence, I guess. And so just the asking of the question, how do I get there? Because I didn't know, and now it makes sense. Of course I didn't know. I didn't have the experience. So it's about asking the question and throwing it out there. Whatever you believe, if you believe in God or the universe or whatever it is, this higher power for you, putting that question out and letting it go, knowing, trusting, surrendering that you'll get the answer. That's what I did. And it came to me. I found books I was reading, and then eventually found the counseling schooling that I started to do, which was basically personal growth. And I got all the answers that I needed, and I'm still learning and growing and challenging myself to come up and trust that I know what to say for 2 minutes.
All right, thank you for that, Liz. That was a great example. Overcoming adversity, good stuff. Okay, question number 2. Okay, so thinking about success. What is success? When we think about the word success, we can look around and see people who are accomplishing things. We can see people who are successful in a certain field. We have lots of examples. There's qualities of success. People can be successful in relationships. People can be a successful parent. People can be successful at completing something very small. Our to-do list, we all have to-do lists. You can say, you know, today was a success. When you think of success and you associate it with a person, who do you think of? So who do you think of as a success and why? And can you identify one quality? So for example, it could be your neighbor. I love the way my neighbor is good at keeping their front and back lawn green all year and tidy and no weeds. They're just good at that. It just improves their whole home. So can anybody think of an example of success, and who is successful, and what quality of success do they have? And come up and tell us about it. And let's see. Okay, so I'll pick a member first. Okay, sorry about that, guests, last time. All right. How about if we hear from? How about if we hear from Manny? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Table Topic Master. Still thinking. Okay, so for me, it's the Buddha, because Buddha showed great amity. Over the last 3 years, I've been looking at and researching successful people and trying to identify what it means to be successful. And the conclusion I've come to is that to be successful is freedom of or within the mind from your thoughts. I see a lot of people distracting themselves with entertainment, other things, because they can never be with their own mind at peace. I'll give you an example. My wife, she has an anxiety or a panic attack every weekend because she spends from 7 till 7 during the week actively doing something, continuously doing something. And on the weekend, when everything's done, because I'm a stay-at-home dad, so everything, the grocery, ironing, everything's done, she has nothing to do. And she dreads the fact she has to be there in her own thoughts. And I see this across multiple places, because I'm now a bit of an observer, and I was there as well. When I first left the corporate world, I was still going to pick up my kids in ties and suits, because it takes a long time to get out those old habits. So I used to sit there, meditate, and really observe the thoughts that were going through my mind. At a place where I'm now, and I think somebody said something about belief, where I actually believe nothing now, just like what the Buddha said. Believe nothing, because that way it's a very simple life. You're not in any disagreement with anybody, you accept anything, and the less thoughts you have, the better you are getting to your successful point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mandy, for that. All right. Table topic question number 3 is a lifestyle question on living your best life. So, if you had all the money and resources you needed, so support, you had excellent health, education, well-being, your needs are met, okay? No longer have to need to worry about that job you don't like. You don't have to even work at a business if you don't like. There you are with everything done, and you've shopped, you've put it all in place. You're sitting there now, and now the thing that you do have and have to know how to spend is your time. How would you spend your time?
I should have got that question.
Sorry, we'll get you next time. All right. So here's the challenge. Can you visualize it for a moment? Just work with this visualization. So your house is paid off, your car is paid off, Visa bill, non-existent. And you've got a regular income from somewhere. So needs are met. You no longer have to stress on that piece. But now you do have something else to deal with, and that is, okay, so it's Monday morning, it's 5 to 9, and you're sitting there and you're twiddling your thumbs. How are you going to spend that day? Who would like to give this question a go? Maybe I'll go that way. Who would like to give this question a go?
One of the guests.
Oh, one of the guests. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll get this. Yeah. Okay, would we be able to hear from maybe Harry? Would you like to try that? Is it Harry?
Yeah.
Okay, hi.
Sorry, are you talking about after once you retire? Like
So
later on in life?
what if it happened today? After with this meeting were over, suddenly you walk out the door and there's been a change. You know, say you had a magic wand. You wave the magic wand, and all of a sudden, as we described, all your needs are met. You've got money coming in regularly. Things are taken care of. But now, so it's a change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after you sort of adapt to that, how would you spend your time? Thanks very much.
Okay, please give me 2 minutes to think about this.
Squeaky money. That's good.
Time's up. Just teasing.
You just pretend you're retired. What are you doing with your time?
Sorry?
Just pretend you're retired. What are you doing?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so to think about an ideal situation, it's one of the things I've been putting off is I've always wanted to do like social service in some capacity. I do like working with kids or even, older people. So I would probably want to go visit, like an older senior home and see what I can do, like help, maybe I have a son, 2-year-old, so I would like to take him along and see how he can kind of, bring entertainment into their life. And I would also like to spend my extra time, maybe cooking something and taking it to food bank or something like that. Basically charity. I would try to spend it in that way because I have been putting it off for a while. And I've been researching different organizations and seeing what I can do. So yeah, that's what.
Thanks very much for that. We really appreciate hearing from you. Everybody's got these great ideas, you know. When we go home, sometimes we start here with the questions. I just want to encourage people. Sometimes we, you know, this meeting goes so fast, and you know, it's like it can be like planting a seed. We can, when we go out the door and go home, you know, we can take away the bits and the ideas and work on it a little bit more and ask ourselves the question, and you know, maybe give it some thought. And as we turn it over in our minds, we never know what sort of other answers and ideas might pop up. Okay, so how are we doing for time? Do we have time for one more?
That's it.
That's it? Okay, thanks very much. It's been a blast. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Evaluated.
All right.
She's just trying to show you that we need more evaluation.
She's waving at the camera.
It's all good. It's all good. We're here to learn. We're here to support each other. So it's not kindergarten, remember, guys? So we're here to push people up, not push them down. It's always a good learning point. I know that when I first started in Toastmasters, I have no idea either. I would just go, and the chair's going, are you supposed to bring me back up on the next person? So even as a competent speaker over time, I also drop certain things, such as protocol. So when I come, that's part of the protocol. When you come up front here, I've seen some people do it, some people don't. I'll have to say, thank you, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmaster, and honored guests. It is a pleasure for me to evaluate today of all the speakers that came up here and spoke for the 2 minutes. It takes a lot of courage to come up here, first of all. I know where I came from, and I took a lot of courage to get up here. So having Harry Priya come up here and speak, you can tell this is her first time. So that takes a tremendous amount of courage to get up here and not grip this podium and shake the heck out of it, all right? She did okay. She did okay. That's normal. The stuttering part or the repeating words, that's normal. That's the first step. So let's me evaluate off Liz. Liz, as you can tell, she's a very competent speaker. Don't need the podium. Always take this out of the way. And that helps a lot. It helps a lot in certain things. When you push the podium back there, then it's great. And she did that and just perfect. However, the other speaker, Manny, however, left the podium there. So now he's standing up and talking. And also, these people right in the back on the side are now being kind of like left out of in conversation, per se. So if you have to, push it back as far as you can. And try not to lean on the podium as if it's okay. I'm here just for something to do. But really, it's important. You're here for a reason. It's very important you're here.
No, I'm here to do something.
It's very, very important. As you can see, a competent speaker like Manny and Liz, you can learn a lot. Vocal variety, verbal engagement, physically using the audience, using all the different types of the stage. That gets later. You just have the courage to come. Learn and improve every day. They have done that in the past. That's how they got to where they're today. And I always learn a lot from watching them too, because there are certain things that I'm very effective at, but not so effective as. Like Manny does very good, storytelling, and a lot of pauses. Unfortunately, I haven't quite learned how to pause as often yet either. It helps. It helps a lot, yes. And that's the one thing I need to tell the Table Topic Master too. She needs to just KISS, keep it simple, smarty. At the beginning, succinctly tell what your role is, tell what the guest's role is or whoever's coming up to speak is, and that's it. And if you have a question, just say the question and let them figure it out, because it's actually an open-ended thing. You don't need to give them an idea what to do. That's up to them. That's the reason why we call it table topics, right? Randomly and just out of nowhere, you meet somebody, your mind can pick up right away. And I love how certain people use that at the beginning, and it adds humor. Oh, I'm still thinking. Or that, I need 2 minutes to think about it. That's awesome. It breaks everything. It's like, oh, now you're less stressful, and the audience is with you. They understand that. So
I appreciate all the speakers up here, and I can say that it takes a lot of courage to get up here to speak. Even the veterans, we still get the butterflies too. So it never goes away here, Priya. Don't worry about it. We're in the same boat, okay? But I thank you very much for all your speeches, and I took a lot away each time somebody comes up and speak as well. So back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sua. Yes, those butterflies, they will continue to be there. It means we just have to get them to fly in formation. But the thing about the butterflies, it's good. It means you care. It means you are being nervous. It's okay. It means you really want to do a good job. I'd be wary if there was no butterflies in your stomach. But our theme today is facing your fears. You guys keep that in mind. This is what we're doing today. Well done. Well done to everyone. Great job, Priya. Next, our evaluations, the reports from your seat. Please, can we have the counter and Manny, please, from your seat. Would you mind?
So first it was up, Nima. I had one filler word, which was because. That's all. However, there was a few incorrect grammar used. There was a place where you said, I remember ever since. I think it should be more around ever since I remember. And there was another one I picked up. There was a one thing. So it should be there was one thing. Okay, just a couple of things, but that was overall great. April, fight or flight. And there's a new one. You've heard of it. Freeze. A lot of people freeze as well now, so that's I've been reading that for recently as well. And I like the fact that you mentioned something that me and Karen were discussing. Without community, man is nothing. That was a great sentence, relevant to our conversation. Karen, I just had about a couple of R's and one and. Let's fill up. Amit, religious undertones, was that the words you used? That's great. A couple of R's and so's in your case. Simone, you like using the word you know, and there was a R. And I like the way we all, how we all refer to the guests. You use esteemed guest, distinguished guest, most welcome guests, I think you use the same. Liz, a couple of ands and an or, and I like the phrase you use, glass box. It's great. Myself, who was the only person to use amity. Extra points for me there again. Harry, it's great that you got up and took the courage. And yeah, I don't need to say it again, so you said it. Give me 2 minutes to think about it. That's the first time I actually heard of that. Great. And Suhu, and that, what I had, something you said was, that gets later. Yeah, actually that comes later. And I like the way you ended it. We're in the same boat. We all get butterflies. And it's great that we have nervousness, because it means your nervous systems respond to fight or flight. Thank you.
Very thorough. Ooh. Very thorough. It means you're really listening, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Next, Mabet, from your seat, please, the timer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. I'd just like to start by saying I feel a lot of amity in the room today.
Too late. Line's drawn.
So we did good on time, basically. Sally Ann started her. She was inspirational, so I didn't time her. I said it's timeless, really.
Timeless.
Maddie was on 1 minute at the beginning. Nima was on 5:15, so a little bit. You had a bit more time if you wanted to. You could have gone 7 minutes. April 7:13. Karen 1:33. Amit 1:52. Simone 2:40. Liz at 2:12. Manny for 1:55. Harry 1:15. Sue 4:15. And then again the counter was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite now our general evaluator, Liz Coleman.
Thank you, Kareem, Mr. Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I learned so much this meeting. You know, I love new people, whether it's new members or guests, because they don't know the rules, or all of the rules. And so they say these things that are like, yeah, I love that. It's like breaking, because that glass box, it's like breaking out of that box that I feel like I need to stay in a lot of the times. Thank you for that. Kareem, as the chairperson, he was clear and confident and calm. I really enjoyed Kareem's presence today. He seemed to really set the stage for a calm and direct and easy meeting. Sally Ann, as the inspiration, was genuine and good to have you back. And get back to Kareem. He actually, as the chairperson, the protocol is so important. And he set the stage for that, also with the clapping, and also setting the stage for how we move around, when the person is leaving, they're walking behind the person that's coming up. Just these little things, the rules. Something for all of us. When we were starting, everyone was helping to arrange the room and set things up, and I just love that. That just feels like everyone coming together. It's so important for everyone. It contributes to the meeting and it brings amity to the meeting. I know. I was also happy to see Nima giving her manual to Karen. That was something that we're hoping everyone starts to do more of, is when you're doing a speech, you give your manual to the person that's evaluating, so you get those marks if you're wanting to progress in Toastmasters. The evaluators. Karen gave great points of the objectives of the speech, what she liked and what could be helped, or to help the speech. Also, one thing that I could say would help is looking around. Sometimes when we're evaluating, we're kind of looking at the person. I found that that's what she was doing. I know when I get nervous, who knows what I'm looking at or what I'm doing, but it's a good idea to just look around and keep in contact with everyone. Amit did a good job as well. Knowing the objectives of the speech is good. He talked about those, but he also expanded to other things like hand gestures and eye contact and tone of voice. Just to know that the evaluations that we give are really just personal. It's very objective as to what we think the speech was like and how we looked at it. It's not for everyone to agree on, but it's very important. We will learn things, and we maybe, I don't know, I might say something totally different. Like with Sua, when Sua came up was talking about Simone as the table topics. I don't exactly agree with everything, but that's how it is. We all have a different way. So Sua was saying he thought it should be more simple, but I was going to say, I'd already written it down. I liked that she was helping us with some of the answers. It makes it easy. I mean, it's never totally easy coming up for table topics, but I liked that she made it easy for us and gave us some tips. So we can often disagree on things, and that's the way it is. And he kind of commits you to a date. As well, the process of it, sometimes there can be overlap, sometimes there's not enough people to give a speech, sometimes there's too many people. The process will be given to the person who hasn't given a speech in a longer time.
Yeah.
So just wanted to let everybody know how that works. Now, back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. A very excellent general evaluation of our meeting today. Very excellent. Is that really it? Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. I would like to go. Is there any club business? Anyone from our executive or anyone?
We should have a next meeting outside of the club at a different date, because we do need. Oh, we have a new member. So we can do next time. Do the next
proper
time.
induction with
the introduction.
Induction.
That'll be that'll be Manny. So Manny, you'll be next week, Manny.
Should be. Yeah.
That'll be you. You'll be inducted next week. So if you don't show up here, I have to take the application.
I'd like to now ask comments from our guests. Could we have any comments, suggestions, please, from Abhishek, if you please share your thoughts with us.
It's my first time here, obviously. I think everyone did a great job. You guys give off a good vibe. I feel pretty confident, so I think the next time I can do like a short topic talk.
Yes.
Yeah. I really like everyone's presence and their confidence to come up to talk to everyone. You guys feel really close, tight relationship here.
Thank you so much,
Lot of amity.
Harry, Priya, could you please share any comments with us?
Yeah, you were.
I don't feel intimidated at all, and that's why I was able to just go on, go onto the stage and speak. And yeah, and I like that everyone is observing pretty much everything, including the hand movements and the speech and the grammar, everything. And yeah, I hope that I do want to come back and see if I can, work on 1 minute speeches, and maybe later on see if I can be inducted.
There you go. Great. Excellent. Well, shall we go ahead and invite the Sergeant at Arms back up here? Hey, I'm here. Next week's chair, and who will be the next week's chair?
Are all the roles filled for next week?
No. We'll just start with the chair and then go from there. Going once, twice. Bye.
We just take easy. April can message somebody who hasn't done one for a while.
Okay.
Step up.
Throw it out there.
Sure. So I'll just let me end the meeting then. I think we all did a great job today. New members.
Right.
Oh.
Step up. It's one thing to do a speech, it's also one thing to actually.
Okay, I'll do it.
I believe we've all faced our fears today, and we've conquered. We are created to conquer, as April was sharing with us. We are more than conquerors through Christ who strengthens us. I'll end the meeting now. Thank you. Before I start preaching, give me a microphone. Give me a mic so I can start preaching.